Today we're talking about our 45 days in the States of leave, going through roughly 10 different states. A lot of time in Pennsylvania, a lot of time in Arkansas, but let's get started. So before we get into the States and all of our trip there and all of the fun stuff we did, I want to talk a little bit about our departure from Italy. We were waking up at 1:30 in the morning to get on a bus to go to the Venice airport to leave Italy. We had a COVID test done 72 hours prior. It was a requirement. The whole family got tested. Those aren't fun. We got our PCM test 72 hours prior. We were told that that was the only test we needed, and we didn't need the rapid test at the airport. We get to the airport and realize that according to the airport, the only test we need is the rapid test, and we didn't need the 72-hour test. So we ended up spending about $1,000 on COVID tests. So that's cool. But we get to the airport to check in our bags. Whenever we are getting checked in, that's when we realize we need the rapid test. We have roughly 2 hours until our international flight leaves. And that's another thing. You really don't need a COVID tests for the domestic flights within the United States, but you do need them for entering pretty much any country, including the United States, which is why we needed the two. We had to go through Amsterdam. Apparently that was why we needed the rapid test. It's a long story, but anyway, so we're at the airport. We have to go get this rapid test. 2 hours until our flight leaves. We haven't made it through security yet. Again, there's 7 of us. So we go wait in line, and there's at least 30 or 40 people ahead of us. It's a long process. You have to check in, and then you have to go to the place and give them your paper, get your test, and then you have to take the test, take the paper, back to the cashier, and then check out. And yeah, it took a while. And actually our 7-year-old always has the hardest time with these tests because they do have to put it, especially in Italy, they do every time. They shove the swab way up there and it's very painful, and he has to be held down, and he hates it, and it's probably going to cause PTSD. It's a terrible situation, but he has to have it done. So they take him behind a curtain, they do the COVID test. It's painful. All you can hear is screams throughout the entire airport. And then we come out, and everyone waiting in line that's about to have the same thing done looks a little terrified, but yeah, it's not fun. But anyways, all of that done, got the COVID test, got everything. We flew, made it into Detroit. Detroit, for some reason, had some of the nicest people we've ever met. It seemed like every employee in the airport was super awesome. Made it through Detroit, got on the flight to Philadelphia, made it to Pennsylvania, started our 45 days, and this is what happened. We got to celebrate Christmas with the in-laws in Pennsylvania. They live on a sheep farm. An interesting thing happened right before we left Italy, actually. The night before, when we were getting ready to leave, our 7-year-old fell and busted his head open on a metal bed frame. And because of ER wait times in Italy, we figured it would be better to use butterfly stitches and fix it on our own, which we did. He's fine now. There's no scarring, but it was definitely a scare. But once we got to Pennsylvania, we got a snow, and it was beautiful. Being on the sheep farm, seeing the snow, the kids loved it. They had a great time. We got several inches over the time that we were there. This is Sam, the sheep farm dog, not a sheep dog. So we went sledding. Of course, we had to. There's some great hills. Pennsylvania has lots of those, especially on the sheep farm. Our youngest boys loved eating the snow, obviously. They also loved sledding in the snow, and we had a lot of fun. Of course, after the sledding was over, my youngest wasn't super excited to come back into the house.
Are you done yet? Are you all done yet? Okay. You want to take the glasses off? Are you done yet?
but it didn't take him long to get over that.
Now.
He's 3. He gets upset easily. He gets over it easily. Being on the sheep farm is a wonderful experience for the kids. Not only do they get to work, and it teaches them some important life skills, and they get to learn the value of hard work and waking up early, and whether it's going out and getting eggs, fresh eggs every morning, or whether it's actually tending to the sheep. They all like farming, and I do believe we will own a farm one day. Maybe that'll be a way to get the kids to come back after they leave home. They want to come work on the farm. There were plenty of other fun things to do being out in the country and away from people, being in a safe environment. The kids made their own fun.
Can you wink at me?
One thing we were able to do that we really try to do once a month, but we had plenty of time to do it while we were on leave, are daddy and mommy dates. My wife and I will separately take each one of the kids out to spend time together. Sometimes it's just for an hour, sometimes it's an entire day. This is definitely popular with every one of the kids. They all like to do things differently. My older kids may want to go for a walk or a hike or go out to dinner or do something where we can just talk. My youngest, as you can see, wanted to go to the park. So I took him to the park, and we actually met some interesting people, and he found some other kids to play with, and I played with him at the park. He loved it. My 7-year-old still wanted to play, but he wanted to do something a little bit different. He's 7. He loves shooting things. He loves guns. He loves cars and driving. All the kids had a lot of fun. This arcade wasn't too expensive, so we were able to stay for a few hours, actually. But we went out with all of the kids, took them all on their individual daddy and mommy dates. They got a lot of time to play together. And to play with all the other family that we were able to see while we were there. They got to blow a train whistle. This was in Arkansas, once we got back to Arkansas. They all had fun with the train whistle. And fun at my mom's house in Arkansas. One of the funnest things we were able to do was actually an amateur wrestling match. A friend of mine was actually the announcer for the match, so he invited us out, and whenever we brought the idea up to the kids, the older ones weren't too interested, but the younger two were definitely interested, and they had a great time. We did have to explain that they were not literally trying to kill each other, and that it was for entertainment, and they were just fighting. Eventually they got that concept.
Oh my gosh! Isn't that so exciting?
Jump on him! You can jump on him.
I don't know.
My youngest wanted them to stab each other, apparently. I don't know what he's been watching, but...
Stab him in the stomach with a knife.
You say hit him in the stomach with a knife?
No, stab him in the belly with a
Oh, I
knife.
don't think they're using like deathly weapons.
Yeah, they're
but-
trying to kill each other.
Yeah, it's just a fight, buddy.
Punch him in the stomach. Why did he die?
Overall, we had a great time. The kids loved Pennsylvania, they loved Arkansas, and all the states in between. We spent a night or two in Tennessee. We got to eat some good food. That was one of the main things we like to do whenever we go back to the States. Barbecue and Mexican are the main things that you can only really find in the States. This is a world famous tamale spread from McLeod's Barbecue in Hot Springs, Arkansas, just to give you an idea of what we were able to eat. And then there's a burrito from a place called Don Juan's, also in Hot Springs, Arkansas. But the main point is barbecue and Mexican food. It's so hard to find when you're not in the States. And finally, an adorable picture to guilt you into subscribing to my channel for more videos on travel and money and minimalism. Please subscribe. I'll see you next week.